Hi, this is Brad from Pro Wrestling Junkies, and welcome to another edition of Toilet Side Wrestling Talk. Today's guest hails from Cleveland, Ohio, and began wrestling in 2017, trained at the House of Truth Wrestling School, and has worked for such promotions as New Wave Pro, Emerge, World's Finest Wrestling, Paradigm, IWA Mid-South, Chicagoland Championship Wrestling, which back in October, along with his tribunal partner, Jace Thorne, they defeated the Thieves of Greatness. Shared the ring with the likes of Tyler Vox, Jeremy Hadley, Damian Cole, James Bandy, Percy Davis, again to name a few. You can see most of his matches on IWTV as well as YouTube. So please help me welcome Mr. Big Drip Energy, Fresh Prince of Magnificence, the Walking Apocolypse. I give you Paragon. Hey, how are you?
Well, I have to admit, the fact that you got the nicknames already prepared, that very much so makes Paragon feel great. But it was actually No Coast that we faced at Chicago.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
No Coast.
And I was there, and there's no excuse for me messing that up. Did I miss any moniker?
Oh, Paragon got so many nicknames, baby. We be spending all day. I mean, there's Mr. Still Your Girl, Long Drip Style. There is Drip Flair, Hip Swayer. There's Mr. Smooth as Ice, Twice as Nice, never had a bad day in his whole life, Mouth Like Ali, Dangerous Tyson. And if you allow the smooth taste to fool you, you get lost in the sauce, much something as sweet as pain. The apogee of all he sees, the Fresh Prince of Magnificence, the list goes on and on.
Wow, and you just did that, off the top of your head. That's amazing. So it's Thanksgiving this week. Do you have any plans? Are you in Cleveland?
Well, Paragon lives in New Metropolis, but right as of right now, Paragon is located in Central Ohio.
Okay.
My family's in Northern Ohio, but due to the pandemic, I may be staying where I'm currently residing. It was either going to be Cleveland or St. Louis.
Okay.
Normally I go to Solon, Ohio, but it was either going to be Cleveland or St. Louis where I was going to spend Thanksgiving. With so much stuff going on with this pandemic, and outside of the ring, Paragon works with kids.
Sure.
I don't want to take the risk of, exposing them to something or getting exposed to something. You never know who's going to be at these functions, who may or may not be taking things seriously, who may or may not be wearing a mask. And so just to be safe, which sucks because Paragon's dad makes the best macaroni and cheese you ever had in your life. Like my dad, his cooking is otherworldly. Like it's part of how Paragon became himself. Okay,
was he always responsible for Thanksgiving meal?
Well, so here's the thing. So I have been blessed with having multiple Thanksgivings.
Okay.
And so what would happen is you get up early in the morning and you travel about 2 hours. Like let's say I'm in the Columbus area, so you would travel about 2 hours north, and you would get there around noon. And so you go to one Thanksgiving. You'll be there for about 4 hours. 4 hours. And then you go to another Thanksgiving, okay? You'll be there for about 4 hours. And then on the way home, you make one stop. You can be there for anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 more hours. And so you done got 3 Thanksgiving, just stretches all around. So I'm hurting this year because I don't even get one, let alone all 3.
So are you having Thanksgiving alone?
I have friends that live in the area.
Oh, okay.
And I do have a vainglorious roommate, so we might have, our own personal Thanksgiving.
All right.
And Paragon can throw down himself. He almost went to culinary school because of how much he loved cooking. So
really,
there's definitely something. Oh yeah. So pretty much, Paragon's mom, before he got into professional wrestling, said, "Make me a deal. Give me 4 years of school, and I will support whatever you do." And so I wanted to go to culinary school, and she was like, "You can go to culinary school after college." And so graduated from Ball State University, chirp.
Nice.
And then after graduation, I was like, I could go to culinary school or I could go straight into wrestling school. And then I decided to go up to House of Truth. So in May of 2017, I graduated college. In September of 2017, I started wrestling training. And then the day before Thanksgiving of 2017, I finished my wrestling training.
Oh my God. So what point did you decide you were going to start training prior to, was that while you were in college, or was that something you were thinking about one day?
So a lot of people know this. Eddie Guerrero and The Rock have always been my 2 guys. They're the reasons that I fell in love with wrestling and wanted to become a wrestler.
Sure.
It was actually the night Eddie Guerrero passed away that I looked up at heaven and I said, I'm going to do this for you, because he was my hero.
Wow.
He was my inspiration.
Sure.
So literally, we just had an anniversary, 15-year anniversary of his passing. And so literally, it was 15 years ago, just last week, that I decided I wanted to become a professional wrestler. And I said I was going to do it. And what's funny is, when you're young, especially when you're young and you happen to look like me, you don't really see a lot of people that look like me on wrestling. It's increasing over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
But when you don't see people like you in a certain field and other people don't see people like you in a certain field, it kind of becomes a huge, you'll grow out of it. It's just a phase. You can't do that. You won't do that. Once you find something else you love, then you'll pass by. Well, the fact that I've been saying I wanted to be a wrestler since 2 years old, and then saying I was going to be a wrestler since I was about 15, it's about 10.
Okay.
And nothing has swayed me. I'm still here. I'm still standing, and it's one of the most stressful but best decisions I've ever made in my life.
And is your family support deciding to go to wrestling school as opposed to culinary school?
So, when it comes to Paragon's family, I've had family members that always say, like, there's anything I could do. I have an uncle that literally says, you have greatness written on your backside, literally, so whatever you do, I support it, just be great in it. And so I had family members that said, we knew you were going to be a wrestler. But then I also had family members that were bandwagoners. They had to see to believe.
Okay.
And so telling them I would do it was one thing. Seeing me out there was another thing. But once they started seeing the merchandise, started seeing the fanfare, the crowd just cheering my name, and seeing the love and the reception, and that's when I think it dawned on them. Like, when I remember my mom, there was a wrestling show that I actually helped host in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
And we had over 250 fans in the building, which for a first-time show is a pretty big deal.
It's pretty good, yeah.
And we had over 250 fans in the building, and we had Carlito there.
Oh,
we had a couple of big names there, even big indie names. But the loudest pop of the entire night was me.
Say that again?
The loudest pop of the entire night.
Oh, really?
And throughout the night, like, there'd be other matches going on, and they would just be chanting, "We want Paragon, we want Paragon." And I don't think it was until intermission when there was a little boy who not only ran up to me and asked for my autograph, but then started copying what I do for my entrance. My mom looked back, I think, in her mind's eye, and was like, that's what he used to do.
Yeah.
When he was his age, looking at Eddie Guerrero or The Rock or whomever. And I think that was the moment where, though she believed I could do anything I put my mind to, that was definitely the moment where she was like, this is what he's supposed to do.
So could you hear, like, backstage, like, the crowd chanting your name during the other matches?
You could hear it, and for some people, they were getting pissed.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You just kind of look down and...
Cause like when I came through the curtain finally, like, my music played, I go through the curtain. I didn't even get to do my full entrance. I go through the curtain, I'm like, me? But it was an incredible feeling, because in wrestling, we're supposed to be these athletes and these rock stars and these entertainers.
Yeah.
And that was definitely a moment where I felt like that. I felt like that rock star. I felt that love. And I honestly would probably say I felt that a couple of times, but the most recent time I could think of was Chicagoland. Because even when the crowd was hating me, they were making so much noise throughout the entire night and throughout the entire match. And when I had that microphone in my hand, which that is something that you put a microphone in Paragon's hand, you are in trouble.
That's what I've seen, yeah.
You're gonna get the reaction you want, but somebody's gonna get roasted, and it's gonna happen. I had to tell one person the other day, like, you mad at Paragon because you were the product of two kissing cousins getting a little too familiar at a family reunion. All right, don't be mad at Paragon because you are as inbred as white bread. Now go sit down and get out.
So do you have fun working as a heel?
I have fun working where I'm needed.
Got it.
There's some places where if the promoter has an understanding of me and of their audience, then they'll know that that's somewhere I'm a hero.
Got it.
And there's other places where, once again, if the promoter understands their audience and myself, they'll know that I'm going to be the villain. You know, as you've noticed, I'm very flashy. I'm very, very flashy. I'm vainglorious. I'm big drip energy.
Yeah.
But in certain places, that's cool. We're in the era of drip. You see celebrities and athletes constantly rocking stuff. This isn't always the day and age where, you know, the drip of a Ric Flair is seen as offensive, you know. Now it's like, yo, we grew up on this. This is cool. You know, part of that's hip hop. You know, hip hop has become so influential in our culture, and people have even said one of the biggest influences in hip hop was Ric Flair.
Oh, so why is that?
Well, so Ric Flair, because, you know, he came up during a time period where professional wrestling was still pop culture. Right now, we're market culture.
Okay.
You know, we have our niche. We have our fan base. We're not as big as we used to be. You know, like even now, you can tell somebody like, hey, do you know who Hulk Hogan is? They may not even realize he's a wrestler, but they know who Hulk Hogan is.
Sure.
Now, let's look at someone who we consider a big name in professional wrestling. We might say a Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins. We might say, you know, Andrade, and they won't know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
Say Roman Reigns, was that the guy that was in The Wrong Missy? Was that the guy that was in Hobbs and like they're thinking of them outside of wrestling, but when we talk about people in it. And Ric Flair came up in a time period in wrestling where it was still pop culture. And so everybody was still watching it or knew of it. And so when you see this dude and he's coming out there and he has these flashy robes and he has on the $1,000 sunglasses and the nice Rolexes and the nice, you look at that and you're like, some people see that as a villain, but others see that as cool. A lot of people that grew up in hip hop, sadly, they grew up in rough neighborhoods. And so guy was the pimp. The cool guy was the drug dealer. And why? Because they were the one that had money. They were the one that didn't have to ask or want for anything. Yeah, they were somebody's villain, but they also were somebody's hero at the exact same time.
True.
And so that kind of all got embodied into a Ric Flair type. Because to some people, he's a villain, but at the same time, though, he looks like he's successful. He looks like he made it out. He looks like he was able to overcome his circumstances. And that's kind of what happens with hip hop. There's a lot of people in hip hop that even if they don't come from, you know, drugs and all that other stuff, they do come from rough areas and neighborhoods, or maybe they came from living on welfare. Maybe they came from watching their mom struggle to work 3 jobs to put the food on the table, or the dad was a truck driver, was never home. And so when they make their money, they want you to see that they made their money because they remember having to rock hand-me-downs or thrift store clothes. They remember having to, their first car was those hush puppies they were walking in because their feet were their first car. And now they can ride the Benz. Now they can, you know, rock the Armani and the Louis V and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Flair was a representation of that. And so because he was a bad guy for certain people, and certain areas in wrestling still have that old school traditional mentality, that type of heel works still in certain areas. That type of heel works in the Chicagoland, you know, because I'm flashy, and some of those audience members, they're still that traditional blue collar hardworking. But if I take that same Paragon and put him in Indianapolis or Columbus or Cleveland, in a big city, I got too much swag and too much drip to hate me. You want to cheer me because because you want to cheer me because I'm a rock star. I'm hip hop. I'm this. I'm that. I'm smooth. I'm swag. I'm all these things that have been deemed to be cool in a certain demographic and in a certain age group and age range. That how can you boo me?
You know what? And that leads me to my next question. Your ring gear. How much thought do you put into that? Do you design it, or do you see stuff that's already pre-made?
Well, that's actually a common question I get, not from podcasters. So I appreciate the fact that you asked this.
Okay.
I actually sketch out every single thing I have ever worn. There's only one article of gear that I have worn that I did not design, and that was from Yolanda Designs Gimmicks Gimmicks. Oh man, it is killing me that I'm forgetting the full name of her thing. But she's designed stuff for Leo Rush. She's designed stuff for Drew Gulak. She's designed stuff. When I say design, I don't mean made the gear. I mean like the sketches and stuff like that. And so I had to ask her to do something for me. And so she did what I call my first evolution.
Okay.
It's if you look at the Chicagoland poster, the outfit that I'm rocking on the poster, she designed that one for me.
Oh,
But
cool.
anything before that, anything after that, from the different long sleeves to the different short sleeves to the now full length bodysuits, the singlets, I've designed myself. I've sketched them out, and there is thought that goes into them. It comes to where I'm at and where my mindset is. With the current bodysuits that I'm rocking, when I'm doing the Vainglorious one, because there's two sides of Paragon. A lot of people don't realize that. Finn Balor has his two sides, Paragon has his two sides.
Yes.
And lately I've been doing the Vainglorious and Notorious one more, showcasing that.
Okay.
And when I was designing it, a lot of people see Prince, which there is a heavy Prince influence.
Yeah, sure.
But when I was designing it, I wasn't just looking at Prince. I was looking at James Brown. I was looking at Rick James. I was looking at P-Funk, Parliament Funkadelic.
Yeah, yeah.
I was looking at Little Richard. I was looking at Lafayette from True Blood. I was looking at Morris Day. Like, I was looking at something that was different and that I wasn't really seeing anywhere else. And when I would see something, of how to expand upon that. Like, Too Cold Scorpio, seeing some of the full-length bodysuits he rocked, looking at Shinsuke Nakamura's current stuff, and seeing what they had and how I can make it my own original thing. So that way I'm not ripping off or copying anything. I'm borrowing from different things. Like, I made a post recently to explain to people, like, Paragon is me. He's an extension of me. It's not a gimmick. This is who I am. Even though the hypersexual, all that stuff, that's me.
You're a man.
I'm pretty as Prince. I'm as entertaining as James Brown. I'm as wild as Bobby Brown. I'm as creative as Andre 3000. I'm as freaky as Rick James. Like, all of that stuff, because I grew up on that. I grew up in the music industry.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, my mom, she used to do background vocals for many groups like Bone Thugs and Harmony, D12, Nelly. Like, I got to meet so many artists via her and her best friend, who's a producer. Like, if you've heard the song "Riding Dirty" by Chameleon, right?
Of course.
Okay, so her friend, who she used to do background vocals through, not only produced that song, he's in the music video when Crazy Bone starts rapping. So, like,
really,
I grew up in music. My grandmother was good friends and best friends with a music group called the OJs, which a lot of people know their song, Money, 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 Money.
Yeah, totally.
Like, she was good friends with them.
Wow.
So music is honestly the biggest influence when it comes to at least this side of Paragon, because with the Walking Apocolypse side, that's my mixed martial arts, that's my education, because I was really big on history, and I was really big on, creationism. I was big on deities and learning about different things and cultures of what they believed in. And I got fascinated with Egyptian culture. And so that's kind of where the Walking Apocolypse comes from. It's a mixture of my knowledge of history and my MMA, whereas the Vainglorious one, that's my music. That's my extension of my first words were "For the Love of You" by Ron Isley. Like, those are my first words. It wasn't dad, it wasn't mama. It was drifting on a memory. Oh, ain't no place I'd rather be than with you. I was less than 2 years old.
Wow, that's amazing.
Music has been such a big part of me, and I was like, you know what? Why don't I just bring that to everybody else? Why don't I just show it to everybody else without even having to sing a note? If I want to, I can, which I'm currently working on my own custom interest music with me singing on it. So I might come down to the ring and start singing my interest music.
That's awesome.
But that's part of what a lot of this side of me is music.
Did your mom have to go on tour with any of these groups?
Thankfully, no.
That's good.
So what my mom, and the reason why I say thankfully no is because I would not be who I am today if I did not have the presence of my mom.
Yeah.
Although, if that's what she wanted to do, then I would, more power to, and I would love for her to have those opportunities. Yeah. So most of her background vocals she did were in the studios. So
cool.
She'd be the one laying background vocals you would hear on track. So you may hear somebody doing background vocals on tour, but whenever you play that song, whether it's an A-track, a record, a CD, an MP3, YouTube, whatever, you're gonna hear her vocals. You may not hear her always at the concert, but you always hear her vocals on anything you play. But if it weren't for her being the influence she would be in my life, there'd be no Paragon. And so I'm thankful that, she didn't go on tour, but I do at times feel like, man, I feel like she could have done some incredible things had she.
Yeah. Did you, when you were a little boy, did you think, oh, my mom's so cool? Could you recognize that's really awesome what she was doing?
Oh yeah, like I always saw my mom as a superhero.
Okay.
Like a lot of people don't realize that Paragon's mom actually has MS.
Oh,
And
no.
I've seen my mom go from every day walking and no problem
Sure.
to having leg braces, to having a cane with her leg braces, to being on the Tiny Tim crutches, to a walker. And like I said, I felt like I was watching her degenerate.
Yeah.
And then I get a text from her earlier this week telling me just walked 5 miles today. Or a text message her telling me, I just did this because she decided to say, she's like, I may have MS, but MS doesn't have me. And so to watch her work out, to watch her diet, to watch her fight through something that was saying she would lose her ability to walk, her ability to see, her ability to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
A superhero to me. And so adding the music aspect to that, when I was younger, not only was she cool, and I thought she was dope, and I thought my mom was better than your mom.
Yeah.
But as I got older and to see her have that struggle and to overcome it, ain't no mom like the one I got,
Yeah. Oh, what a great example to grow up under.
Well, yeah, because she taught me how to persevere. And that's not always easy in today's day and age. I mean, as someone who does struggle with mental health, and I'm a huge advocate for mental health awareness, and I'm appreciate the fact that you're still here. I was just telling somebody else, the other day, that to think of the hardest day you have ever had in your entire life. And now remember the fact that right now you are reading this status, which lets me know you are still here. Thank you for still being here. And so thank you for still being here. But, as someone who struggled with mental health myself, to see the things that my mom has endured, that let me know right there that I can get through some of my hardest days. So at the end of the day, if you look at the hardest day you've ever had in your life and the hardest days you've had in your life, you have a 100% success rate against those days. You have a 100% survival rate against those days.
Oh, I've never heard of it like that. That's a really good way to think about it.
Well, yeah, because the thing is, it's like people have gone through some extremely rough stuff. I know I've seen some stuff in my lifetime that I don't think any person should have to see. And then I also have to acknowledge the fact that even those rough things that I've seen and I've experienced that are encoding themselves into my DNA and in my mental, there's still someone out there that's had it worse than me.
Yeah.
And I look at every single day that I have had where I felt like giving up, where I got pushed to that breaking point. The fact that I'm still here, even when I may have gone over the edge, my success rate and survival rate are through the roof right now.
Yeah, that's a really good way to think about it. Like my thing was always, and I've told my wife this, I said, we may have gone through a lot of bad stuff, but are you happy right now where you're at? And she'll say, yes. I said, okay, so all that stuff was worth it, to get you to the point where you're happy finally and content. I always wanted to get the, have you heard about the semicolon tattoo people get? It's in green. Well, I've always wanted to get that. I just haven't in a while. But that when I first read about the semicolon, what it meant, that really affected me.
Yeah, Paragon wants to get tattoos so badly, but somebody once said, why would you put a bumper sticker on a rocket ship? But that's definitely one I would love to get.
Yeah, even just like real tiny.
Yeah, it's because it's so powerful, and the fact that it seems so simple and so small, but as human beings, we're so simple and we're so small. In the grand scheme of things, if you look at the universe itself, not even just our galaxy, just the universe, we're not even a speck.
Yeah, we're nothing.
Yet there are things to us that mean more than the universe. And so I think that tattoo, is just so powerful. And one of these days, maybe when Paragon is able to hang up his boots and pull his hair back like it is so right now.
Yeah.
Maybe I can say, you know what? Let me just put a little bit of a bumper sticker or two on this spaceship. Because they used to say, don't put a bumper sticker on a sports car. Well, Paragon costs more than your sports car. Paragon's pajamas right now that he's rocking right now cost more than most people's sports cars.
All right, I want to go back a few years. The night before your first day at House of Truth, what were you feeling like?
It was honestly so surreal.
Okay.
Because I had just arrived in Michigan. I was in an Airbnb.
Okay.
And so I'm in an Airbnb. I had just arrived in Michigan. I had no idea how I was going to pay for this Airbnb because I was like, I gotta find a job. Like, I was able to make the first couple of payments, but I was like, I gotta find a job up here. I gotta do this.
Yeah. I
knew no one in the area, so I had no family, had no friends, and all I could think about is I'm ready.
Okay.
It was this moment of I have every reason to be nervous. I have every reason to be scared. I have every reason to not be okay with what's going on. And yet it was probably the most ready for anything I've ever felt in my life.
And then
it was like,
go on.
Oh, I was going to just say, it honestly, it felt like everything I had done in life led to that moment. From heartaches and heartbreaks to disappointments to successes to roads less traveled to roads many have traveled to a domino effect to the butterfly effect. Every single thing that had ever happened in my entire life, it felt like in this moment, it led to this. And when I close my eyes and I open them up again, this will be the first day of the rest of my life.
Yeah. And did you recognize that at the time? Like as you're walking through the doors for the first time?
Okay, so that's what I felt before going through the doors.
Yeah.
When I went through the doors, everything, I was like, oh my God, I'm here.
Had you ever been inside of a wrestling ring before?
I had been inside of a wrestling ring as a fan.
Okay.
Because before I got into the wrestling business, I made friends with a bunch of independent wrestlers. Like Congo Kong, I got to become friends with him before I stepped foot in the ring. A friend of mine named Justin Myers, and he's now a retired wrestler, but his name was Karn Alexander. I got to become friends and befriend a bunch of independent wrestlers along the way.
Okay.
And so I got to get some ring time in a matter of feeling what the first bump feels like and how the ropes feel, how high the ring is.
Yeah.
But I will say, before I got in the ring, the best experience I had, I actually reached out to a couple of professional wrestlers that were on TV.
Okay.
At this point, Keith Lee was in ROH, so he wasn't even in NXT yet.
Okay.
And so I reached out to Keith Lee, I reached out to Shane Taylor, I reached out to Silas Young, and I reached out to Ezekiel Jackson.
Okay.
And pretty much I gave them the same spiel. I'm like, I'm about to start my journey in professional wrestling. Are there any pointers or tips you can give me going into it? And I also reached out to Shad Gaspard, RIP.
Yeah.
That one kind of, his passing kind of hurt.
Yeah, I bet.
But I will say, and ironically enough, he was probably the advice that was the simplest, it was the shortest, and yet it was the most impactful.
What did he say?
Make sure you want it, and then always remember why you want it.
Oh, okay.
And at first I was like, what? Until I took my very first bump.
And then you realized?
I realized exactly what he was saying, because there were so many days in practice where my back was sore from hitting ropes and taking bumps. There were times where I got hurt because I was training with someone who wasn't being safe and didn't protect me. And I never once wanted to stop. I never once wanted to quit. And what he was saying is like, remember why you want this every single day. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be things that are going to get in your way. There are going to be people that are going to want to make you not want to do this anymore. And you have to remember why you decided you wanted to be a wrestler. But then you got to make sure that you want this, because it is going to be hard. It's going to weigh on you. You're going to miss a lot. And I've missed birthdays, funerals, weddings, first hellos and last goodbyes. I went into wrestling school engaged, and before I was even wrestling for a full year, that engagement was over and done with.
Oh my God. Like, did you know that might be a possibility, like maintaining relationships when you were getting into it?
I mean, in that particular relationship, there were signs that were there. But you never want to believe it. You know, you want to believe that this is not only forever, but this person has your back. When it comes to relationships, I never just look for someone I can have fun with. I don't even just look for someone I can just have a relationship with. I look for someone I can build and grow with. You know, people sometimes say like, "Oh, you're Prince." I'm like, "No, I'm an emperor. I'm trying to build an empire."
Yeah.
And the thing is, you know, what's an emperor without, you know, his queen by his side? And so that's kind of always has been my mentality of I wanted someone to build with. And so when you're starting to find yourself and grow into yourself as a wrestler, and you're looking to your left to the person you're thinking is going to grow and build with you, and realizing they're not there. Like, it wasn't actually until her and I broke up that she actually saw my first wrestling match.
Oh, really?
So the time period that she saw my first wrestling match, I had been wrestling for 1 year and 1 month when she finally saw my first wrestling match. Her and I broke up probably 6 or 7 months into my wrestling career.
Because of how much time it was taking?
Actually, no. Her and I had our own issues.
Okay.
But I would say, as I said, I was looking for a partner, someone to build with, someone to grow with. My romantic tag partner, if you will.
Yeah.
I kept feeling like whenever I looked on the apron, she was never there. I'd look to make the hot tag, and she was already walking to the back, leaving me high and dry. And the thing is, you know, not everybody's going to be a right fit for your tag team. You know, I don't even blame her for it. You know, there's someone who is your puzzle piece that fits just right, and there's sometimes someone with the puzzle kind of fits, but it looks like there's a little spot right there.
Yeah, you got to force it a little.
Yeah, and I think that was the issue. Her and I were in two different places in our life. We were looking at the world two different ways. She was someone who, she wanted something that was guaranteed.
Yeah.
She wanted something that, you know, so she went to college, chose a career that was guaranteed, went and got her master's. Right now, she is a middle school teacher. She's doing something that feels promising and guaranteed. Me, I feel like, you know, I have to do what feels right.
Yeah.
I have to do what makes me feel alive. And like, I remember one time her and I got to an argument, and she said to me, she was like, you're chasing this impossible dream. And I had to stop her, and I had to say, first of all, my dream may be illogical. It may even be improbable, but it is far from impossible, because someone did it before me, someone did it before them, and someone did it before them. So the fact that it was done lets me know that it is not impossible.
Yeah. It's and could she accept that?
I feel like when she accepted it, it was too late. Okay. And it wasn't even a matter of accepting that. I think it was just a matter of accepting this is who I am, and this is who I'm going to be, and they have those drawbacks when you're with someone who has a spontaneous personality, and you're someone who makes plans. When you start to realize they're going to be spontaneous and they're going to kind of fly by the seat of their pants and go with the wind, it can be a lot for you. And when you realize this person is probably never going to change, or only going to change so much, and that's not how you work, you know, opposites attract, but sometimes they also repel. Yeah. And there was something that attracted us towards one another. There were things that caused us to repel. And I wish her nothing but the best. Because I got to meet some amazing women along the way. I got to be vainglorious and notorious along the way. Enjoy that. And honestly, I mean, it took that heartbreak and that to also help me learn about myself, because it let me know how much this business meant to me. Because in the past, I would have tried everything I could to make that work, and I might have put wrestling aside. And I had to come to the realization of, I want this so bad. If I have to sacrifice someone who I got down on one knee for. Because because part of me also feels like, it's one thing if you sacrifice your dreams, but no one should make you feel like you have to sacrifice your dreams.
Agreed.
And I feel like that's kind of what the issue was with her and I. And I looked at it this way: if I have to sacrifice my dreams for you, it's not the right fit. If I want to sacrifice my dreams for you, that's a different story. And right now, I'm not sacrificing anything. I mean, I make sacrifices for this dream, but it's one thing to reach a compromise, and it's another thing to compromise yourself. I decided after that situation ended, Paragon was no longer compromising himself because he had too much that he was fighting for and too much he had worked for.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So is one of the hardest things being a pro wrestler is maintaining relationships?
The hardest thing about being a pro wrestler is being a pro wrestler.
The physicality.
But when I say that, this business, as beautiful as it is ugly.
Okay, can you tell me the ugly side?
Oh, definitely. I mean, okay. I'm sure you heard of the speaking out movement.
Yes.
When that came out, that hurt. And the reason why it hurt was because there were people who I befriended, people who I allowed to stay in my house, people who I gave a bed to, people who I called family. And so to see their names on that list of people and list of hashtags, and to see so many people verify stories, it hurt, because you never want to think someone you care about is like that.
Could be like that, yeah.
And it especially hurts when it's someone who knows your story. I am somebody who is a survivor of assault and abuse. So to hear people who know my story and to know that's something that they actively were doing or had done, that hurt me to my core.
Yeah.
And that's just one example. I mean, this business, there's people who will call you a friend, will call you family, and they're using you. There's something from you they want. And once they get it from you, they'll cast you aside. I've had wrestlers, bookers, promoters, all use me to get something they wanted from me and then cast me aside. But put everything under the guise of we're a team, we're a family, we are family, we're friends, I got your back. And then when everything was said and done, they were nowhere to be found.
So do you like recognize it in the moment? Like someone who's like that, who's going to use you and then drop you?
Honestly, it's hard to recognize because, in wrestling, there's this thing called selling, and there's some people that are just really good at selling.
Oh, okay.
There's some people that are really good at selling, and they're really good at making you believe what they're spitting out.
Yeah.
It honestly, it causes you to put your guard up, and it causes you to be selfish. And that was something I always didn't want to be in this business. When I got into the business, my mindset was, I want us all to eat. I want us all to be able not only to just go home with money in our envelope, but nice size money. I want us to put so many butts in seats that whatever our rate was has been multiplied.
Yeah.
I wanted us to go back to the ways where when the territory still existed, and there were guys who their job was professional wrestler, and when you asked them what their job was, they said professional wrestler because they wrestled 5 times in 1 week.
Yeah.
And each time they wrestled, they made $500. And so this person a week is bringing home $2,500. Like, that's what I wanted. And I wanted to do what I could to bring that back into the business. But people are so selfish in this business and so manipulative that there's a reason we can't go back to that. But there's also a reason that a lot of people start off with that mindset and it disappears. Because you start off with the mindset of, I want us all to eat. And then you get the mindset of, you know what? I'm going to eat first. As you know, I'm a part of the tribunal. We are no longer the tribunal.
Oh, really?
We have now become the heads of the table.
Oh, when did this happen?
It was actually supposed to be announced at Chicagoland.
Oh, okay.
But when the big man couldn't make it, we decided to hold off. But Yeah, we're the heads of the table, and we were the tribunal. We were the judge, jury, and execution of professional wrestling. We were trying to pretty much anything we saw wrong with professional wrestling, we were trying to wipe out and eradicate.
Mm-hmm.
And then we realized that we have been passed over, we have been overlooked, we have been lied to, we've been manipulated, we've been used. We have literally begged for seats at tables that we built.
Yeah. Oh,
there have been multiple companies that we built that table that people are eating off of, and yet we're still trying to get a seat. We're still trying to earn our place.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought to ourselves, not anymore. Like I told you earlier, we used to want to allow everybody to eat. We wanted everyone to eat. But now that we're the heads of the table, we've decided that you don't get to eat until we say you do, and that's once we eat first. And if you don't like it, sit your behind at the kiddie table.
Does anyone push back on that?
Oh, people try to push back, but push back if you want to, you're gonna get put down.
Yeah.
We decided that we're not asking for anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Why ask for what's already yours? And if they don't realize it's already ours, they're gonna find out.
Yeah.
We're taking it. It's no more asking. It's no more asking. No. See, from now on, when we say we want championship belts, we're taking championship belts. When we say we don't like this dude, get him out of here, either you put him out of here or we gonna put him out of there. But one of these ways you're gonna like, and the other one you're not going to. You say we the main event. We the main event. I mean, just last weekend we were at WTF.
Okay.
We are all three. We do the free birds rule. Mm-hmm. We are the tag team champions of WTF.
Okay.
We walked in tag team champions. We walked out tag team and US champions.
Really? So was just one match?
So they had a tag team match where they defended the tag team titles against Warhorse.
Okay.
Now, Jay Thorne and I are the ones that won the tag titles. Chris Moore and I are the ones that mostly defended those tag titles.
Okay.
But they faced Warhorse. They beat Warhorse. In the opening match, I was the number one contender for the U.S. title.
Okay.
The U.S. champion had to vacate the title. When the U.S. champion had to vacate the title, I was like, well, who am I facing for? Because I'm the number one contender, so
yeah.
It is what it is. And after the title got vacated, they put me in a match with somebody. He lost. We walk in champions. We walk out champions with another title. And then on top of that, Paragon was the opening match and the main event.
Oh, cool.
Because in the main event, it was Chuckles the Clown King, Brian Pillman Jr., myself, and Dale Patricks against Jeremy Hadley's group of misfits, whatever it's called. They ain't my president. But anyway, we walked in, walked out victors, and currently Paragon is the only person on the WTF roster that is undefeated in both tag and singles action.
Oh, that's really cool. So, when you guys got the belts, do you go out and celebrate afterwards?
Oh, most definitely. We actually are starting this thing where we're about to get our own championship, and we award the championship to the match of the night.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And so whoever has the match of the night, they get the championship. And so we go out to eat, we go out to drink, we go out to do whatever. The person with the championship doesn't have to pay for their food.
Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome.
Or either food or gas. It depends on where we're at. Like if we go into get some hibachi at Benihana or something like that, about to spend some real money. And I'm like, I'll not do gas tonight. I'll pay for my food, but y'all doing gas.
Yeah. But, that's amazing. Do you ever take your belt out in public?
So as I told you earlier, I work with kids.
Yeah.
And so what I'll do is, I'll bring my championship to my students and I'll let them see it. So not only can they see, success and that, this is something that you can strive for and accomplish, but also they can see I'm a champion. So you act up. I'm beating people up for a living. I'm the champion of beating people up.
Yeah, totally.
So y'all better calm down before we play dodgeball today and you lose.
Oh God, they must look up to you. Jeez. Like you were saying, as a superhero.
Oh, I have so much fun with my students. They get mad though because they'll want to play games that I don't lose in, and then get mad. Like they'll want to play Monopoly. I've in my entire life I've been playing Monopoly since I was 5 years old, and I've only lost twice in my entire life.
Oh my God!
And that came, I want to say, like in probably last year, so in 2019, either 2019 or like the end of 2018 was the first time I had ever lost a game in Monopoly. So crazy. I was 5 years old playing against adults and still winning, and so my students are like, "You're too good at this game." Yeah.
Do you like Monopoly, or are you just good at it?
Oh no, I love Monopoly.
Oh, okay.
To me, Monopoly is a game about strategy because one, you got to use wits. It's the art of the deal. I get my $1 million man on. I'll be like, I'll make a deal with you, and they'll be like, "Uh-oh, here we go." And I'm like, "Okay, you buy this property for me, right? And if you buy this property for me, if I land on this property, I'll give the property to you. We'll swap properties. Since my property is more expensive than yours, okay? Whenever you land on that property, you pay nothing. When I land on your properties, I only pay 2 houses max." If you heard what I said though, whenever you land on this property, you pay nothing. If I own the other 2 properties and they have hotels on them, you're paying full price. And your property is already less than mine.
That is really funny. So I got a question for you. What's the biggest expense as being a pro wrestler?
The biggest expense, it honestly depends. Because I know for me, I spend a lot of money on my gear. To me, having professional gear, multiple pairs of gear, it's very important, And on top of that, I try not to wear my gear more than twice if I can help it.
Oh, really? Wow.
I'll put it like this: from the month of July to the month of October, I never wore the same gear twice.
So, but you don't throw it out, right?
No. I mean,
it's in the archives.
In the archive, I might sell it, or if it's just a good piece of gear, I might just be like, fine, I'll keep wearing it. But gear can be expensive, because like I've paid anywhere from $60 to $400 for gear before.
Oh my God! So
gear's expensive. You've seen the staff that I carry. That staff was $300 because it's custom made. I actually went to a cane maker and he made that for me. So like that can be expensive, but I'm gonna be honest with you, the most expensive thing for a professional wrestler, in my opinion, is gas. The reason why I say that is because a lot of promotions, they don't want to pay you what you're either worth or what you need or what you whatever. Yeah. And so let's say it to fill up your gas tank one way there and one way back is $40.
Okay.
If you're lucky, they'll pay you $40. If you're not lucky, they'll give you a $20.
Oh, so do you know
going
in how much you're getting paid?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
And like the higher up you are on the card and the more well known you are, the more you're able to ask for. I've been on shows with dudes that went into the building and they walked out with $800 before even doing merchandise sales.
Oh, really? Wow.
Oh yeah, I was on a show with one guy, and to do the show, it was $850 was his rate, and he made $575 on merchandise.
Can you do this full time, or would you want to do it full time?
The goal is to do it full time. As of right now, I need to get a little bit more money in my envelope.
Yeah.
But also, it's not just that. My thing is security. Right now with my job, I have health insurance. So if something happens to me in the ring, I'm covered.
Yeah.
If I do this full time, if I end up paying for health insurance, I'm gonna have to pay a lot of money without having a job. Premiums are crazy, especially nowadays. So it's just it comes down to there's a risk with everything you do. If you do this full time, you increase the chances of being seen and getting at new areas and making a bigger name for yourself. But if you get hurt, you increase the medical bills or not being able to wrestle and stuff like that. If you have a day job or, because like I'm on salary, so, Paragon's sitting pretty.
Nice.
But here's the issue with that. My salary job demands a lot of me. And so when I would like to take off a week to do the gathering or the collective or to go to North Carolina and WrestleFest and WrestleCon and stuff like that, I got to use so much PTO or vacation or sick time just to do that. And then you got to consider, well, what if something happens, What if someone passes away and you don't get bereavement because your job doesn't deem that, bereavement work?
Yeah.
Or what if, you get sick and you can't go to work? You don't have the PTO, you don't have the whatever, so they take it out your check now. And so you have to be cautious as to what you do when it comes to stuff. But you also got to understand that you don't get as many eyes on you doing that day job. But you don't have as much security being full time. And so it's kind of that balance of just doing what you can to keep putting yourself out there, keep making a name for yourself, keep going to tryouts, and not allowing anything to deter you.
Do you ever?
Because
Go on.
What were you saying?
Do you ever or would you ever want to travel out of the country to perform?
Oh, well, before COVID happened, I was supposed to go to the UK, Canada, and Mexico. COVID shut that down.
Yeah, I imagine. Oh, that stinks.
I told a lot of people at the end of 2019, 2020 was going to be the year of Paragon, and it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
There was a company in Florida that I was supposed to be working for every single month from March until November. I was supposed to debut in California, Missouri, Mississippi, Alabama, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Canada. There were so many places I was supposed to debut this year. And debuting in those places and getting my name out there, that was going to raise my stock.
Sure.
And COVID shut that down. Now, thankfully, the great powers that be of Chicagoland Championship Wrestling are going to help amend some of those things and, allow Paragon to bless the world with his vaingloriousness, because he will be the world's salvation. It still sucks because it feels like I'm having to start all over again. I went from my foot is in the door to Scorpion said, "Get over here," and pulled me backwards. And now I defeated Scorpion, but he put me through a hell of a fight. And so now I got to crawl my way back to the door, try to force it open. So
do you have stuff? Can you even make bookings for 2021 yet, or?
I already have bookings for 2021.
So are you
just the issue? The issue is they're tentative. And
that's what I mean.
Yeah, because COVID stuff. And so it's like I have something in January, something in February, something in April. I have something in July, June, and October already. But with saying that, though, we don't know what this world is doing. And from what I've experienced is when all these shutdowns and stuff like this happens, it pushes everything one show back.
Okay.
And so let's say we get shut down from now until February, right? But there's a company that's supposed to have a show December, January, and February. And so now the March show is the December show.
Got it. Oh, so everything's pushed back.
Everything gets pushed back.
So 2022 is probably the year that everything gets normal again, hopefully.
True.
All right. I have a ton more questions, but I'm going to save them for a part 2 if you're ever up for that.
Oh, most definitely.
Oh, cool. Because this has been very enlightening. Can I ask you 5 non-wrestling related yes or no questions?
Of course.
Okay. And you can say yes or no or elaborate. It's up to you.
Okay.
For $6,000, would you drink a tablespoon of your opponent's sweat?
For $6,000, no.
Okay.
No.
Have you ever ridden a horse without a saddle?
Yes.
Oh, really? Wow. Do you hang pictures in your home of just yourself?
If you count paintings of me and merchandise, then yes.
Okay, I don't count those. That's completely fine. Okay. Have you ever eaten something that wasn't food or medicine?
I have eaten a worm. I was camping and they were showing us that if you were stuck in the wilderness with no food, these are things that you can eat. So I ate a worm, and I also ate ants, which ants taste like lemon heads.
Oh, really?
Yes, ants taste like lemon heads. It's the strangest thing. So I have eaten the ants. I have eaten a worm. And also, when you're a little kid, you put things in your mouth you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I've eaten like a penny or something.
Your response leads perfectly into my last question. Have you ever gone on a hike and seen like animal droppings, and then you pick some up and you smell it or taste it and then be able to identify what animal it was from?
I'm not tasting animal droppings. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even like human feces.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
and
I try not
feces,
to look back.
Yeah, animal feces smells worse than human. Like, now, I will say this: I feel like there's ways to tell animal droppings without having to pick it up and taste it.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, canines. Their poop tends to have a certain, which my friend makes me laugh. It has like a Vienna sausageness about it. Where bear poop more looks like deformed, like custard. Like there's no swirl. It's just clump. The reason why I know this is because I went fishing one time, and apparently they did not tell me there were bears in the area. And when we saw the poop, they were like, "That's bear poop. Let go."
Yeah, so totally. Oh my God. Okay, well, thank you for answering those. When are you wrestling next?
As of right now, my next match isn't going to be until 2021.
Okay, are you working the Chicagoland Championship Wrestling show in April?
Oh yes, I am. I am, and
cool.
I'm excited for that one because that's one of the few times where I remembered why I fell in love with wrestling. And so I can't wait to go back, and I can't wait to slap some people to sleep again, because as you saw, we walked in vainglorious and notorious, and we walked out victorious.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. That was the whole night was great. But when I saw you, I'm like, oh, I got to talk to this guy. Do you have IWTV?
I do not. I had it at one point in time, but I do not. But I am on IWTV.
Yeah. Oh, I've watched a bunch of your stuff on there. Do you watch your matches back?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I have to. I have to. I'm what you would call a type A personality.
Mm-hmm.
And so someone will tell me, "I loved your match. That was a great match." And I already have things about my match I didn't like. To me, any performer or any athlete, you should watch tape of what you've done. You know, Paragon has been acting for 22 years.
Wow.
And during that time period, if I had a recording of one of my stage performances or a PSA or whatever may have you, I'm going to watch that so I can look at my facials and do I have a twitch? Am I blinking weird? How's my posture? Was the choreography clean? Did I stumble over a line? And it's the same thing when I'm in that ring, you know? Like when I'm in that ring, how's my posture? How am I circling the ring? Could I have hit them harder and drawn back my fist more? Where was the placement of this? And could I've done so? I'm constantly watching because so for me, I told you about Eddie Guerrero being one of my guys. To me, he is the perfect example of the perfect wrestler. So if I could be a quarter of as good as he was, that lets me know that, you know, I'm doing something right. And so the fact that he would go back and watch his matches to be better, why can't I do the same? Yeah,
like if you want to be the best, you got to watch yourself and improve. Are there other wrestlers that you trust that will, you know, honestly critique like a match of yours?
Most definitely. I have people who, if I send them my match, they will tear it apart. And then here's the funny part: they'll tear my match apart, and then we'll follow it up with, "I love the match, though." I'm like, I can't tell. I can't tell after everything you said.
Yeah, once you lead with that, and then do the other stuff.
Well, for me, because coming from House of Truth, how we were taught was, if I don't say it, then either it was good or I didn't notice it, which is good.
Okay.
So like, most of your critiques aren't what you did right; they're what you did wrong.
Okay.
So, you know, the only time I actually want to hear if someone liked the match is if They completely shat on the match, and I'm thinking like, man, I suck. And they're like, no, this was a good match. These are little things. You gave me a list of 142.
Yeah. How am I supposed to get past
critiques?
that? Oh my! But at least it's good, because then do you you take that information and then your next match you use it.
Yeah, you got to, because if in this business, so like I know I said I finished my training in 2017. You never finish your training in wrestling. You never finish growing. You never finish learning. The moment you think you have nothing to learn or to train or to grow from, you don't need to be in this business no more. Why be in it if you know it all?
Do you know anyone who has that attitude?
Too many.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, not even just green guys, not even just guys that have been in the business for 10 plus years. I've met people who've been on TV and they have that mentality because, I've been on TV, so I know everything. And then you look at some of their in-ring work and you're like, well, if you knew everything, you know how to do an arm drag properly.
Yeah.
Or you know how to bump, because believe it or not, there is a right way and a wrong way to hit that mat, because it's judo. You know, a lot of people don't realize that the art of taking bumps in wrestling, when we're getting slammed, we're not faking these slams. There's no way to fake falling from the heights we fall from, but it's through judo and the distribution of energy throughout the body is how we're able to walk away and do what we do and continue matches and stuff. And there are people that don't seem to get that science and to get that mentality of how the kinesthetic response works with your body. And I'm like, he about to have a rotator cuff injury here soon.
Oh, God. So have you taken any, I'll let you go in a second. Have you taken any young guys under your wing?
Not lately. I've found, as I've told you, a lot of people tend to not treat you right and use you. There have been a lot of people that I've taken under my wing and tried to help out. And it's not like I'm some grizzled vet, but I've had a lot of experiences that a guy with my experience in the business shouldn't. Because like I've been told by people who, when they first met me, when I was only 3 months in the business, they thought I was 5 years in.
Wow.
And did
that make you feel good when you hear that?
It made me feel good and bad, because on one end, it made me first go like, okay, so am I in the right locker room if you guys think that I'm that experienced? But then I've had people who will tell me I don't sit with the young guys, the young guys, the cool guys, the end guys. Yeah. I don't tend to sit with them. Okay. I sit with the bookers. I sit with the vets. Because I'm not only learning, but we are talking about the business. You know, I'm not talking about a spot that I want to do. I'm talking about the man. This dude just did a 450 splash and got the same pop I got off of my headlock. Is there a problem there?
Yeah, wow.
The fact that I can do a headlock and get the exact same reaction of your high flying aerial move. One of us is a storyteller and one of us isn't. But I've gotten cautious about taking people under my wings. But the thing is, though, I do have what I call little brothers in wrestling. And I will always look out for my little brothers. I will always give them advice to try to help them grow.
And they can call you.
Oh, yeah. I just reached out to one guy last night in particular, and I told him, I'm like, hey, you're making buzz for yourself right now. Now is the time to start making decisions, because if you oversaturate yourself in an area, you're hurting your own envelope, because you're not putting as many butts in seats, and that's what guarantees you certain paydays. Also, if you overexpose yourself in an area, both the audience and the bookers aren't going to appreciate you as much, no matter how talented you are. Especially because, we heard you came in for this guy for this much, you came in for this guy for that much, why we got to pay you this much? You got to start demanding more of your rate. You got to start demanding more of yourself and demanding more of the places you work for. Because you just keep wrestling anywhere, that's how you're going to be seen. Yeah,
you need to grow.
Yeah, we got to do this part 2, because I'm having fun talking with you.
You have no idea how many more questions I have, and if I keep going further, my wife won't talk to me the rest of the day, which is actually a plus. But
I didn't say. He said that. I ain't comment. I'm just.
She brings the money in, so I have to be very delicate of what I say and do. Thank you so much. Definitely would love to have you on again. And I look forward to seeing your ring gear in April when I come for the Chicagoland show.
Because I got some new stuff on the way, baby.
Okay, cool. And I watch IWTV every day, so I'll keep an eye on what's going on leading up to April.
Right on, right on. And you know what?
Yeah.
I know we've been trying to make this happen for 3 weeks now. If you have time this week to do a part 2, and we can pump out the part 1 and part 2, let me know.
You want to do Friday?
Shoot, I may be able to do tomorrow if you can.
All right, cool. Let me check myself, and I'll DM you later for sure.
All right, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I am really grateful, and we'll talk again very soon.
Right on. Sounds good.
Take care.
You too.
All right.